All right, we back at it. I just wanted to say at the beginning of this that I appreciate everyone who actually watched my last YouTube video. Wow, I'm YouTube famous. Yeah, I did not expect that many people to watch it, and I felt like it wasn't an amazing video. I feel like in general I tend to ramble a lot and I tend to not make a whole lot of sense. But people said that they thought it was a pretty good video. And so, neat, man. I feel like now I want to make them even more. But anyway, today I did have something that I did want to speak about in particular. It involves an experience I had at the beginning of high school. Baby, I don't even know how old I was. Maybe 15 or 16. Um, Freshman year, which is a big moment for everybody. But for me, it was really interesting because obviously of my speech impediment, and that was a big move. It was a big change. Um, so yeah. But before I say and speak about that, I did want to say one. Man, I can't speak. I woke up this morning feeling like it's a day that I know that it'll be not as easy to speak. And that might sound weird, but there are many times where I wake up and I just know, okay, today I can just feel that it's a day where it's going to be a little bit harder to speak. Um, and I think it makes sense because if I'm feeling like it, like mad or sad, or if I'm um, sleepy, right, that tends to make my speech, end up being not as, it makes it a lot worse. And so I woke up this morning feeling like I was exhausted. And, you know, I just knew, all right, it might be a little bit hard to speak just knowing that I feel exhausted. And, it's okay. It's whatever, right? Um, it's okay. But I still wanted to make a vi- wow, dude. I still wanted to make a video anyway because I know that if I do this, at the end of this, I'll be speaking way better and I won't feel as bad, right? So, one thing I wanted to say, I know I said that like 8 times already, so, haha, was that I think people in general, they tend to take a lot of things for uh, granted. That was hard to say. And I think speaking and speech in general is something that people take hella for granted. And in fact, I actually had a friend say that. And I was like, yeah, man, I mean, that's something that people say to me all the time, right? And I mean, I mean, there are things that I, right, also take, I can't say it again, so well, that I also take, you know what I'm trying to say, right? There are things, and I can't think of another way to say this, so I'm just gonna put it on the screen. Bam! It's like magic, dude. Um, so obviously, it's only natural that people don't realize that speaking is a big deal, and being able to speak without even having to think about it. That for me, like, that's insane because I have to try really hard just to speak, right, all the time. Anytime I open my mouth, it's like a big deal. I mean, it's not. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just I need to try really hard to actually be able to speak. So I thought that was a neat thing of my friend. You know who you are, man. I can't say your name, man. And I don't know if you want me to like try to say it and like it'd be weird that like I'm having a hard time saying your name. But his name begins with an A. That's the best I can do. Anyway, so rewind to ninth grade. I was 15 or 16, I believe. No. 14. Wow. And I forget exactly, like, okay, I only like remember the actual, I mean, like experience I had speaking. So what it was is the entire school pretty much was lined up in the in the cafeteria. Okay, I just gotta yell sometimes to actually like speak. So I was there. I was lined up, and it was split. Right, it was split based on what year what year you were. Right, so seniors, juniors, and so on. Right, so I was in my line as a as a freshman, and I forget why we were lined up. I don't remember what it was about. I don't know. All I know is that at the end of the line, or at the beginning of the line, right, there was people sat at this really long table. And I don't remember what it was, but all I know is that when you got to, the beginning and you reached the end, what? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. When you got to the table, you had to say, you had to say your name. And just speaking about it, like, I can feel my speech, like, is, like, so, wow, dude, I feel like I can't speak. Anyway, as soon as I figured out that when I, got there, I had to say my name, I began to panic. Because one of the hardest things for me to say is my own name. Right? And the reason why is because when anyone walks up and says, hey, my name is blah, 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 right? They either expect you to say, they expect you to say your name back, or they say to you, what's your name? Right? And generally, if you don't respond and say your name within like a few seconds, they start to, like, it's weird, right? And it makes sense, right? Most people are able to say their name immediately. But for me, obviously, it's not like that. So, knowing that I had to say my name, I was panicking. I was in line, freaking out. But, I mean, I'm good at not showing that I'm, losing my mind. So, I'm just standing there, like, it felt like I was in line for like an hour. It was probably like 15 minutes at the most, but it felt like an eternity. And I was sweating. Like, my hands were like, I was freaking out. It was horrible. But, I had to do it. I don't even remember what it was. I wish I could remember, but I don't know. But I do know at one point I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm about to leave the line, peace out, and just maybe go back to the end, or something, right? Or say, yeah, I did that. I've been in line. I've been had said my name, man. When obviously that's not the case. So for a second, I was like, I gotta abandon ship. I gotta get out. But then I was like, well, I'm here already, right? I'm next. So I'm like, let's just try. So I walk up, and the wow, the individual sitting down was, I believe, was either a senior or I forget what, right? But like I can remember because I felt bad, and I'm about to explain why. Basically, I walk up and she says, "Okay, what is your last name?" And for me, saying my last name, Silva, is very easy compared to saying my first name, which I'm not even going to try to say because heck no. So I was like, all right, neat. I can say that. That's my last name. At this point, like a few seconds, like had went by, and I realized, oh man, I haven't said anything in like a few seconds. So I started to panic even more, which is so not needed. But basically, I sound like a snake for the next 60 seconds because I'm just not able to say my name. And so it's okay. So there's a bunch of people. There's still a bunch of people in line behind me, in line next to me. It's loud. There's a bunch of people speaking at once. So I'm leaning in to, trying to say my name. She's just, looking at me, and I'm just, and it was horrible. It was really it was agonizing because, I'm just trying to say my name, man. It's not a big deal. I know my name, obviously, right? Like the thing that a bunch of people say if I try to say my name and I'm not able to is, haha, you don't know your own name. And it's like, haha, right? Obviously. So it was it was a struggle, and it was at least 50, 60 seconds, a minute. Like, if you think about that, imagine someone in front of you trying to say a word, right? And they're just saying like the beginning of that word, right? So for 60 seconds, right? I mean, in your mind, it might not seem that long, but put a timer on and wait for 60 seconds. When you're in that 60 seconds, in the moment, it feels like an hour. And it's even worse when it's like something weird is happening. So, and I feel bad because she's just sitting there, not even saying anything. She's looking at me in my eyes. I'm looking at her in her eyes, and I'm just saying for like a minute. And it's the worst. It was such a experience that when I finally was able to say it a minute later, right? And the wow, wow, I can't even say it. The teacher sitting next to her began to look over at me, and it was I could see her slowly looking over at me, and it was I felt like an idiot. It was such a weird experience. But I finally said my name, and then she just moved on. She just went, did what she had to do. She said something. I don't remember at this point. I'm in panic mode. I'm just I want to go pass out. Dude, I'll be on the roof of the school until I have to leave. So it was rough. And oh, right. So I wanted to say something. Like, I wanted to not just walk away pretending like, yeah, that was normal, or like without saying anything. Like, I wanted to acknowledge that, yes, that just happened, right? Like we just went 60 seconds with me trying to say my name and wasn't able to speak. And like, I didn't want to just walk away pretending nothing had happened, but it was like that SpongeBob. Oh my god! It was like in SpongeBob when Plankton is inside SpongeBob's head and like is making him move around and walk, right? Even though SpongeBob isn't wanting to. So that's what it felt like, because I had began to walk away, even though I was like, wait, I want to say something, right? I can't just leave, right? Because who, like, maybe she, like, maybe that's like in her memory. Like, one time, dude, I met a snake, right? Like, but it was like a, not a snake. It was a man, well, not a man, but it was a kid who, you know, wasn't able to say his name for 60 seconds. And it was such a weird experience. And I mean, first of all, I appreciate that she just moved on and just chose to like not even acknowledge it. Although now, I mean, if that were to happen now, of course I would say, hey, I have a speech impediment, blah blah blah. That wasn't like a problem in the Matrix, right? Like, that was real. It happened. But yeah, that was such a weird experience. And I have so many, like, especially me being in school, right? I have so many experiences that are basically me trying to say a word or me trying to speak and not being able to, and like the way people would react. It would make such interesting experiences. Um, yeah, that's wild. I feel like this is a whack video but whatever. I do feel better, haha, and I do feel like do feel that my speech is a bit better now. But I mean, yeah, I appreciate y'all watching. Uh, Man, it's weird because like now I'm like I don't know the word, but like I'm like experiencing all the things that I, like in my, oh my gosh, I can't talk. I'm remembering everything. So, oh, what is that? I'm beginning to like re-experience all the things that I experienced, and it's like, well, it's crazy. Anyway, this has been a long one. I appreciate you watching. I'm sorry if I was rambling or if I said, or if I, made no sense, because I'm sure I made no sense. But if I do make more, there'll be a lot of these that are just all over the place. But anyway, I don't know how to end these. So I'm just going to slowly move my hand to the record button. And that's it. Okay, everybody, goodbye.